Sometimes I wonder whether what we were fighting for in those days was going to be for a better Britain. My name is Alexander Franks, and I left school in April 1934 at the age of 14, and I got a job immediately making wooden cases. The best part about it, of course, was I could make that many cases in a week that I was earning £6 a week. The first thing I try and remember is all the men that I knew in my company that died. And then, of course, you think of the intelligent Germans, how they could have done such dastardly, terrible things. My wife worked at the same factory that I did. The little messenger boy that used to run around the factory brought me a little note. It was from a girl named Irene, and she said, "I would love you to meet me tonight outside of Gripson's shorthand offices." Anyway, I did meet her, and I'd got a single man sports car at the time, at 17. We had a very nice evening together. Did she marry me for me, or did she marry me for that sports car? And she never did tell me. All 72 years.
This country is at war with Germany.
Well, I received this dreadful brown envelope from the government when I was 20. I had to pick up an ambulance, an old Morris commercial ambulance, and told that I was got to be the driver in the battlefields. It was the screams of men in the back of my ambulance that I could hear very regularly, and of course the screams were terrible.
With God's help, we shall prevail.
I started to believe in God in those days. About 12 Stuka bombers came over, and we all thought they was going to go to the harbour to bomb the ships. But the last one, I could see the 5 bombs dropping out of the Stuka, and they were all aimed at me. I knew I was going to die. The noise of all these 12 Stukas disappeared, and I looked around, and there was the other 4 bombs. 5 bombs never exploded. Now that is a miracle. I would love to believe originally that there is a God, but which makes me a bit of a hypocrite. It's getting more difficult day by day. We thought we'd done away with all wars, didn't we? And look what's happened since the war ended.
We should prove ourselves once more able to defend our island home, whatever the cost may be.
I was taken prisoner. We was always in suspense as prisoners of war. We didn't know really what was happening. We just couldn't understand why they could be so callous. 2 men took each of my shoulders and marched me into the jail within a jail.
Today is Victory in Europe's Day. Long live the cause of freedom.
We stayed in a military prison overlooking this pontoon bridge. 3 Americans came across with thousands and thousands and thousands of displaced persons from the east, and they were coming across the pontoon bridge all day long. I ran up to them and said, "We are British, the Russians won't let us cross." The Americans patted me on the shoulder and said, "Come along with us, buddy." They took the 3 of us back over to the west side of the river, where We were free. What a marvellous feeling it was. As we walked across this pontoon bridge, it was like walking on air. I can't really describe how we felt. We were actually in tears with joy, grown-up men crying to walk across that pontoon bridge really was one of the happiest days of my life. First thing I try and remember is all the men that I knew in my company that died. I did 6 years of dangerous living, and I'd come through safely enough, but I could dwell on thinking about everything that had happened in those long days ago. Sometimes I wonder whether what we were fighting for in those days was going to be for a better Britain. But I'm sorry to say, when I hear the news and I look at the television, I wonder whether it is a better Britain than what we used to have. They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, or the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we shall remember them.